The short official synopsis reads as follows. When the mysterious deep space research vessel USCSS Maginot crash lands on Earth, Wendy and a ragtag group of tactical soldiers make a fateful discovery that puts them face to face with the planet's greatest threat. The story is set in the year 2120, only 2 years before the original Alien and 16 years after the events of Alien Covenant. At this time, Earth is governed by 5 corporations: Prodigy, Weyland-Yutani, Lynch, Dynamic, and Threshold. Cyborgs and synths are common, but it's at this point that Prodigy comes up with hybrids, humanoid robots infused with human consciousness. Needless to say, the alien visitors aren't the only threat to humanity's survival. Welcome everyone, back for another podcast. We haven't done one of these for a little while.
Have we done
AJ,
any?
welcome.
All right, how you doing, Matt? You all right?
I'm all right, yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Have we done a podcast before then, like this?
Yeah, we've done a few. Don't you remember?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Go and have a look at the playlist, podcast playlist.
They must have been that memorable.
Yeah, we have done a few.
When we done it, are people watching us talk, or are you putting images up as it goes by? How are you doing it?
Well, probably just, I might put the odd image up now and again, but it's just basically us two just chatting away.
All right. Okay. So you've brought Alien Earth to the table.
Alien Earth, yeah. So obviously the audience has sort of had a little bit of a synopsis of what this is about. As we know, this is coming to us in the UK on Disney Plus, I believe on the 13th of August. This will be going out a couple of days before that, so we'll be really sort of ready to watch this new series. It comes out in America on the 12th of August on Hulu, I believe. So you guys in the US will be seeing this before us.
and I'll be seeing it before you.
Well, there we go.
Come on now. There's ways.
There's ways, yeah.
Let's be real,
Yeah.
Captain Jack Sparrow. I'll be watching it on that day. The thing is, you've caught me at, over the past couple of days when you've sent stuff, you've seemed really hyped for it, and my hype has died down completely.
Yeah.
I just think they've done all the advertising has got on my nerves now. It's just all right. Yeah, it was great at first. They have little adverts here and there, ding, ding, ding. A few little ones, and then all of a sudden it's just like a deluge of advertising for this TV show, and I'm done with the advertising for it. I'll have seen it all by the time it comes out.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that is modern marketing for you, isn't it? They latch onto something and they'll just flood everything with TV shots.
I feel this has been done more so heavily. There's been loads of it, loads of adverts, mini adverts, and trailers along the way for this, going back a couple of months.
I haven't watched every trailer. I watched the initial early ones, and then the main trailer that came out, I think, in June, end of June, I think it was, and I thought that was really good. I liked the full trailer and the music they used, sort of the aesthetic behind it. I try not to see everything sort of trailer wise, but I have been watching quite a lot of news about it. One thing which I heard last night, which I shared with yourself, which is probably going to upset quite a few fans, is the fact
rightly so.
Yeah, is that this is actually not part of the film franchise canon. which is interesting. I mean, you can take it two ways. You know, you could either, I mean, a lot of people will be upset by this and think, oh, you know, why is it not connected to the Alien films? And you know, I can understand that, but if you look at it from another point of view, you could see it as a okay, it's not part of that canon. It's almost doing what AVP did, Alien versus Predators. So it's going to be set in its own parallel universe, and
Well,
I guess.
it's not set in a parallel universe. It's just dismissing any continuity that's been done before. It's just showing a disregard for them not caring about what's come. I mean, I know full well that, you know, Fede Alvarez, director of Alien Romulus, reached out to Noah Hawley. Do you want to discuss? Do you want to? And no, he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
So either Noah Hawley's just wanting to do something of his own, or Ridley Scott has said, no, you can't link it. We don't want you to link it. It's one of those two things. Because Ridley Scott's still very much involved with the Alien franchise and seems to be the one who's okaying things and not okaying things. So if the film is set in its own, if it's not canonical to anything that's come before, why call it Alien? Why not just make your own show about ship that comes down with 5 alien specimens inside and do your own thing?
Well, you could do that, but obviously the Alien brand is, you know, very.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. It's the Alien brand.
Famous,
but then you're saying about the Alien versus Predator films, doing their own thing, setting their own timeline. The thing with the Alien versus Predator films, they easily fit into the scope of the Predator movies, rather than the Alien films. They sit, you know, there's nothing to say that they don't, that contradicts them being in that universe of film. So they sit more there. For me, the Alien vs Predator films have always been attached to the Predator franchise more than the Alien franchise, because they work, because they can sit there and work more so continuity wise than in the Alien franchise. And also the other thing, if you're now saying, well, you got Aliens, you got the Alien franchise, you got this separate, you got Alien versus Predator separate to it, you're now turning this into Halloween, the Halloween franchise, where there's so many different, you know, and it gets stupid because you get to a point where, you know, people do start, you know, they do start dismissing stuff, and that's worrying. You know, if Neil Blomkamp came along and gave you his Alien 5 or Alien 3, as it would have been, that dismissed the events of Alien 3 and carried on from Aliens, you'd then have another separation to the main.
Yeah. You could liken it to pretty much what's happened in superhero films. You know, you've had various iterations of Marvel, you know, 20th Century Fox, their sort of universe, now the MCU universe. I know you've had sort of different characters in the newer version, to say you didn't have the characters of Captain America and Thor. I know they did those sort of cheap films years back. I'm talking about the sort of Fox stuff that was done. They was kind of their own thing.
Yeah, that would be fine if you were dismissing, if you said, okay, we're starting the Alien franchise over again, which clearly they're not, and this is part of a new Alien franchise, but then you've still got the old Alien franchise existing as well. So
my take
that,
on it
that
is
argument doesn't really work for it in that sense, because Alien's still going.
But my take on it is this is kind of like a separate thing to the film franchise. It's its own thing. But I mean, they have mentioned that it's set between 2 years before the events. And again, this sort of
Okay, but what you're
I get a bit.
reading,
Yeah.
this is the thing, is what you're reading there was written
Yeah.
some time ago, and now that's irrelevant where it's set, because the film's not canonical to anything that's gone on before. So it's the fact that it's set 2 years before Alien or whatever it is a moot point, because Alien doesn't exist and won't exist in this timeline. So if that's
Well,
what they're saying.
this is what I'm saying is I don't know. I mean, I think we're getting mixed messages because, and it clearly says in one of the trailers, the story is set in 2120, supposed to be 2 years before the original Alien, 16 years after the events of Alien Covenant. But then the director has also said that he seems to think it fits more within the closer to the Aliens franchise. So it seems to be all over the place.
It sounds to me like Noah Hawley ain't got a clue what's going on and couldn't care less about the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, which is a bit worrying.
It is very worrying.
However, when you look at what is presented on screen, the trailers, it's very intriguing. I mean, I like the fact that it's not just going to be about the xenomorph. I think if we just had a series that just focused on the xenomorphs again, I think you're just treading old ground. At least with this, they are introducing 4 other species. One of which, well, there's two different species, aren't there, that have kind of been teased in the trailer. One being the T. oculus, which that sounds quite interesting. That it's a life form that sort of enters through the eye sockets and then connects to the brain and takes over control of the neural pathways of its victims. So that sounds quite interesting.
Like the starfish in Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be. Yeah, you're going to be able to relate it to stuff, but it still sounds.
Yeah. Look, I'm not. It's an intriguing premise having an alien thingy, but let's be fair. Most people are watching it for a xenomorph, nothing else. If that xenomorph is taken out in the first episode or two, and then it focuses on just the other aliens and them capturing the other aliens, sorry, people are going to tune out. I think they've already with this news that's come out that it's set in another, an alternate timeline or whatever, dismissing everything that's gone before. I think with that news, you've destroyed a lot of people's anticipation. That's an anticipation destroyer. That.
But like you say, that could work very well be Ridley Scott's influence. Obviously, we've seen it with the Prometheus and Alien Covenant films. I mean, personally, I actually quite enjoyed Covenant and Prometheus. As I like the aesthetics of them. Okay, they probably didn't have the xenomorphs that everyone wanted, but it was trying to do something different. And I'm always up for something new, something a bit different, as long as there's a connection there. But yeah, I guess the news that this, well, I don't know. I think maybe it could be a course correction. Maybe the first series won't be connected, but then if it doesn't do so well, there's the talk of them doing a second series, then it could be a course correction, which again is kind of what happened with Prometheus. It didn't work, and
which is worrying, because Prometheus Covenant doesn't feel like a natural an organic step forward for Prometheus. Like you say, it's a course correction. And when they course correct like that and you notice it, then it's bad. Again, the problem is again, you've gone with a, everything since Alien 4, Alien Resurrection, was Resurrection, wasn't it? Everything has been prequel. Stop with the prequels, because you just mess up. You start to mess up everything that's come before.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways,
there's an argument for not knowing. The mystery is always scarier than the reveal. Right? And the Alien worked best when you thought that these creatures exist out there in the universe. That they're just out there somewhere. You don't know where they come from. You don't know their background. It's all shrouded in mystery, all speculation. And then everything wants to give you an answer. Everything is the human race did know about the aliens. The aliens have been here on Earth before. We have encountered the aliens. It's getting, even with Romulus, it's getting stupid that, again, you've encountered the alien again. That it's, you're just destroying what's been done in that franchise. Just go beyond and give us something set later. What's the hardship of this film here, this film series here, or this TV series? You could have done exactly the same thing set afterwards. You could have done exactly the same story, setting it afterwards. The ship has, a ship has come back with another alien on board, and it crashes on Earth, and you've potentially got that outbreak on Earth, the potential of an outbreak starting on Earth.
I mean, it surprises me, because the ending of Alien Covenant, obviously David had all the embryos, and the ship was set to go back to Earth. So to me, that was the perfect segue into Alien Earth, because he's taking back the embryos. It crashes, it destroys him, so he's kind of wiped out. Because I think a lot of people are getting tired of. And again, I even heard that this morning on. There was like an interview at Comic-Con, because it's the San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, and they were kind of sort of saying that sort of Prometheus and Covenant, almost Ridley Scott was sort of focusing more on the android stuff rather than the alien stuff. So that could have worked. That they could have crash landed the ship. He was destroyed, but some of those embryos, obviously became xenomorphs. But obviously they haven't decided to go with that. They've gone with the Maginot, a crash landing, which essentially has the same look as the original ship, Nostromo. So it's that aesthetic, and apparently the opening episode is set aboard that Maginot. So you're straight away you're thrown back into that original aesthetic of the first Alien film. Obviously they've got all the original. We've seen it in the trailers. The sort of the computers are very much sort of that time, the 70s. So they're trying to keep a similar aesthetic going. But it's like you say, it's a bit of a mess now, because now with this news coming out, it's kind of thrown everything up in the air, and no one's really sure about actually what is this. Is this going to be set in the same timeline? Is it a separate thing? I don't know. It's a shame, because from what I've seen so far, I've been quite interested and intrigued, certainly with these different life forms. I mean, you've seen the other one, which is almost like a pod, and apparently it's some sort of plant alien, which almost they've sort of said is going to be a bit like a Venus flytrap kind of scenario, where it sort of digests its victims. So again, they're trying to do something different. They're trying to introduce, because with these things, people want what they've had before, but then they're given that, and then they turn around and say, "Well, it's boring. We've seen this before. We want something new." So, as producers of these films and TV series, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't kind of scenario.
Yeah, but you can give us that. Set it after. Same thing, but we take the series forward. You're not taking the series forward by going backwards and setting it all before.
You could say they did. Yeah.
Go on. Go on.
You could say they did do that with Resurrection. They did fling it forwards in time. But the problem with that film is, again, they had to bring Sigourney Weaver back into it, Ripley, create a clone. That was where things started going wrong. The original trilogy worked thematically. It was a great ending to her character.
Yeah,
the way
I agree.
died.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's where they should have left it. They should have just left it.
Yeah, I totally agree. You should never have done Prometheus. Should never have done Covenant or Romulus.
Or Resurrection either.
But even Resurrection stands above those because it's not bogging stuff down. It's not. Thematically, Resurrection still works within the context of the other three Alien films, with the stuff that I've discussed before, with the stuff around, mothering and all this sort of a thing, and the continuation of that. It thematically it works in conjunction with the other films. I'm not saying it's a good film. It's not. I'm not saying that Sigourney Weaver should have come back and they should have done the clone thing. They shouldn't have done. I agree with that. No. But what they've done is they still fit it in thematically with the other three films. Yeah. They need to step forward without Ripley, without the connection to Ripley and all that sort of thing, which is easily done. Of course it is. I'm just, Noah Hawley's a decent, he's brought some good stuff to TV. Fargo, the TV show, it was outstanding. So, he's good at what he does. However, if he just doesn't care and he's doing his own thing, that's a bit concerning. It's concerning anyway. It's a prequel. It's still the prequel issue. Even if you've got your sequel to Covenant, and like you said, David Ship did crash land on Earth with embryos on. Straight away, you've taken any, you've detracted from the first Alien film. At this point, I don't believe you can have more than one xenomorph on Earth. You can get away with probably one. A story with one. That's how the corporation finds out about. But even that don't work because they know about them before. It's just all a mess.
Really.
With Romulus, it's all a mess.
So really, and again, this is the problem with IPs, isn't it? That they're trying to recapture magic from years gone by. The first three films worked. It was a nice conclusion to it. Done and dusted. That was it. But now, because of all the stuff that's come afterwards, it almost dilutes a lot of this original stuff, which was, it's still held in high regard. But, talking about, like you said, with the Halloween stuff, again, that original Halloween, for its faults, it's still considered the granddaddy of slasher films. It doesn't work really. It is daft when you look at it, but I know a lot of people love that film, and it'll always be, sort of regarded as the granddaddy.
Regardless of the films and my faults, my point of saying Halloween is because the Halloween franchise has had many a reboot throughout its. You had Halloween H2O come out, and then in the next one, Jamie Lee Curtis dies again, and then she's back for the new Halloween films that came out, the new trilogy. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't care about anything that's come before, and it's such a mess, and it's got to a point where each new one could be like, well, we don't care about what's gone before now because it's been done so many times that people expect it. And if that comes with the Alien franchise, I mean, look
Well, it sounds like it's going to go that way, doesn't it?
I know, but
from this latest news.
When you watch Alien, first Alien film, it happens, it ends, right? Then you come into Aliens, and Aliens is set something like 70 years later or whatever it is. I can't remember the exact time frame.
Yeah.
Right. And in all that time, there's been no other, seemingly, narratively, forget about what's come since, there's been no other interaction with this alien creature, right? You know, the corporation knows that there's a thing on LV-426. They know that. They've gone there. But nothing's happened. They've built up this, you know, they've built these atmosphere processors. They've gone, they've built you know, ingratiated themselves onto the planet, so to speak. So they've been there for some time, these families and whatnot. And then they go out, they're sent out to that place, and the alien, it ain't like the alien, they get there and then the alien's there. So you've got still got this air of mystery about the creature and the fact that, you know, they're out there, but 70 years have passed, a couple of generations of people have gone, died, and do you know what I mean? And, but then you start throwing in saying, oh, now we've got Romulus, which is set after Alien. And then you're going to get the sequel to Romulus set after Alien, and after that, and so you've got all this stuff happening between these two events that fill it with just like, okay, so we did know about the aliens are there, like they're bloody, you know. I know it's just an Easter egg in Alien Romulus, but apparently there's a bit where you can see Ripley's ship pass by the screen.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Just float by, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, what are the chances of that? This alien species that you know, you just lucked upon, literally almost out there, and here's another one. Your next encounter with them, and there's Ripley, you know, a couple of 100 yards away, just asleep, passing by in a spaceship or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous.
You know, it's, you know, it's becoming a joke in a sense like that. I know I sound very negative about, I'm just bringing another side to this discussion because you're quite positive about it. I'm just bringing the negative side of it. Because after that news, it's just like, well, you know, if that is the case, and they're ignoring anything that's come before and don't give a toss about the law and just doing their own thing while the other thing is ongoing, while the other thing still exists at the same time, it's just like, well, why?
But you could argue that the reason he's gone with that is because of the very fact, and like you say, Fede Alvarez has wanted to connect with him, and he's dismissed it. Well, for probably the very reason is the fact that Romulus is in between these films, and is just diluting the whole damn thing. So from this Noah Hawley point of view, he kind of thinks, I don't want to be involved in that. I want to do my own thing. Yes, it contains xenomorphs, but it's its own thing separate to all of this other stuff, because I can't be sort of fitting all of this stuff into continuity. I'm just going to use the Weyland Yutani product, you know, all the pulse rifles and all this sort of stuff, but it's going to be its own thing.
Then why come out saying that it's set so many years before or after stuff that's gone before?
Again,
you know, what I'm saying is Noah Hawley, like I said, could have said that this is set 200 years. We're going to set this 200 years after the events of Alien Resurrection.
Possibly then maybe that's Ridley Scott's influence. So at the start of the project, we're making that's all conjecture. We don't know. But the point is you're doing a series that's prequel based. You're telling us that it's set here.
it's set, and then the director comes out and says, "Oh no, actually, I think it's set somewhere closer to aliens."
Yeah,
Like he ain't got a goddamn clue.
it's got
And
mixed
worrying.
messages.
That's very concerning. That's very concerning for it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I totally agree. I was very surprised when I heard that yesterday, and whilst I'm still intrigued to see what it looks like, because from what I've seen, the aesthetic of it, um, these other alien life forms, to me, I find quite interesting to see what that has to bring to the table. Yes, it's great to see the xenomorphs again, obviously, but I think if it was just a series about xenomorphs and nothing else, I think you would tire of it pretty quickly within the first couple of episodes. It just turn into a sort of sort of slasher sort of thing where they're just hunting down an alien, killing it, and you've seen it all before. Whereas at least this is trying to incorporate different life forms, a sense of mystery, investigation. There are all these corporations. I mean, again, apparently it's what is it? Is it the Prodigy? Is the corporation? I think it is. They're the ones that are doing all the investigation of these new life forms, and obviously old Timothy Oliphant. He's going to be. I think he plays an android, doesn't he?
He
Is
does,
he an
yeah.
android? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going to be like. I guess he's going to be like the Ash, isn't he, of this TV series? The one that's going to be fascinated by these life forms. I don't know. They may go for that same sort of dynamic, or they might do something different. But
Yeah, but I mean, even the idea of having other alien life forms is, that doesn't really do nothing for me. That's not intriguing me. That's not really
no,
interesting me. Simply because you detract from, again, the xenomorph. You detract from the fact that, my point is look at how we live now, right? We don't know anything of any alien life out there.
no.
Right? Now, all of a sudden, we go out there, we find one alien life form, but then all of a sudden we find another one, another one, another one, another one. The bloody universe is teeming with different alien life forms. It's kind of like, all right, so again, you detract from the air and the mystery of the fact that there is this creature out there. That now you're creating all these others out there that are hostile and act in the same sort of manner as a xenomorph, essentially. Or the face hugger. You got this thing that attaches to your face and goes in through your eyeballs, and then zombifies you. And I mean, it's just getting to the point of stupidness. And this is my point. That if you're going with a series that you're naming it Alien, you're having a xenomorph in there for brand recognition and all that, and Wayland Yutani, but it's not set within the confines of the alien universe, then just give us a completely different TV show. Take the xenomorph out, put another alien creature in, and you can still do exactly the same show. You still do the same thing. But,
Well, you could, but like you say, it's that IP, isn't it? That's what's going to bring the people in.
No, I know that. I get that. But that's my point. Is that you're doing something stupid. Whenever you watch an alien film, right? Aliens with the Queen Alien, fine. It made sense. The Queen Alien was made sense because you've got you've got hive mind, you've got worker aliens, drone aliens. You've got a queen that lays the eggs. It makes sense in that it's like a beehive essentially, or an ants, right? It makes sense, right? Alien 3, even the dog alien, or if you want to say it come out of a bovine, whatever, it's more animalistic in its nature, in the way that it moves. It made sense.
Yeah.
Right? But then you go to Alien Resurrection and you get the newborn. Makes little to no sense. It's just, oh, we've got to do something different. We've got to give you
Yeah.
something different. And it annoys everyone because it's rubbish. Because it looks rubbish. You go to Alien bloody Romulus and it does the same thing again as the newborn, essentially, but a different type. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well, linking in Prometheus.
Yeah,
This
you're doing
time.
all this silliness. The only other one that worked was the Predalien. The Predalien worked because it took on the attributes of a predator and alien linked, and so that made sense. But you're taking the aliens, and you're each time you're trying to throw something new in, and that something new isn't accepted. It's never accepted because people don't want that. And now you're throwing in these other 4 alien life forms that you know. I've got no issue with. I would have had no issue with the show just being focused on a xenomorph and a hunt for a xenomorph, while having other, because you got to feel that you got 8 episodes of this, so clearly those 8 episodes are not going to be xenomorph focused or alien focused. You've got to have a lot of stuff going on with the characters, with the corporations and all this sort of thing. You've got to build out the story with that and other characters and other plot points that are not just, oh, we're hunting these aliens, these alien creatures. And you can do, you got the stuff with the children's minds being in the android bodies and all this. There's obviously a lot of stuff going on there, story wise, that there will be. You can do that with just Alien.
The other thing that sort of put a bit of a thing on this, the actress who plays the main android, obviously the child that goes into the adult body. I don't know the actress's name, but again, she was supposed to be. She's supposed to have done this interview with, I think it was Empire, or one of the big magazines, that promote.
Sydney Chandler. Sydney Chandler,
Okay.
daughter of Carl Chandler.
Anyway,
the magazine you're talking about is Variety.
Variety, that's it. Yeah, Variety. And she's basically sort of messed around and she was supposed to go for an interview, photo shoot with the director, and I think Timothy Oliphant as well. And she just sort of pulled out of it at the last minute and made up all these excuses. Oh, I haven't got, I'm not well, and all of this sort of stuff. And again, that's disappointing because it's almost like, again, are these actors almost becoming larger than life, and they sort of feel like, oh well, no, I haven't got time for this sort of thing, and I don't know, all of this sort of stuff. A lot of these films now, and Hollywood in general, and I keep saying this, it's style over substance. Everything is about how I look, how I sort of shown in social media, and okay, these are good actors, but they're just actors. They're not like larger than life. And I think there's just far too much emphasis on this now, and not enough about storytelling, and like you say, about connecting. Just having like plans and sort of timelines that work. There's too much emphasis on the style of it. I mean, okay, they've got the look of this really really cool, with the original aesthetic of the original Alien film, with all the computer, the mother room, and all the rest of it. It looks great, but
Romulus did that as well. Yeah.
They all look fantastic. They look great, but there's something lacking with the storytelling and the character development. It's all, and it's indicative of Marvel and DC. It all looks great, but there's something missing, which we used to have with these older films. It was more emphasis on the story and the characters, and this seems to be lacking, I think. in modern cinema.
Yeah, because the emphasis is on making money rather than making art.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it comes down to.
And promoting people as well as, sort of, it's all about them being on the red carpet and all the rest of it. And it's too much focus on that. And that's driven by social media. Back in the day when Alien came out, you got fantastic actors, Sigourney Weaver, John Hurt, Yaptet Koto,
Yeah.
Tom
For
Skerritt,
yeah.
a great cast of people, but they weren't like sort of thrust into the limelight like they are now. And you didn't really know a lot about these people, but when you watched them on the screen, they just you just felt like you were in a different world. And yeah, I think this is what's lacking in cinema today. Is too much emphasis on sort of what we look like outside of these films, and it's like I say, style over substance.
Mm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, this actress, this Chandler actress, of what she's, she could turn out to be a new diva, a new, maybe
the same one as that Snow White girl.
Yeah,
she
Rachel Zegler
did all of this sort of stuff as well.
She
It's
could
almost
start going
fashionable.
down that path, but
it's almost fashionable to be like this and to, almost sort of say, "Oh, I don't need to do this. I don't need." At the end of the day, you're promoting a TV series. Nobody knows you from Adam before. Okay, you might be a great actress, but prove yourself. Prove yourself first. Let the fans decide whether they're invested in you, like we did with Sigourney Weaver. Wonderful actress. She's a strong female lead. That went through all of the films, and like you say, the mother relationship with the child and all that stuff. But like I say, is all this stuff getting oversaturated? Should we just be leaving these stories alone and just, be happy with the first trilogy that we had? Same with Star Wars again, the first trilogy films, but now we've had, and okay, they've had a few things that worked.
And that's what that's what I'm saying about the first 4 Alien films work because of that. That like I said, the first Alien film is essentially an analogy for rape, forced impregnation, that sort of a thing. Okay, and then you continue that into Aliens with the mother-daughter, because obviously pregnancy leads to children, blah blah blah. So you lead into that organically with mother-daughter relationship, which is for Sigourney Weaver's character, for Ripley and Newt, but that's also mirrored in the Aliens itself, because you have the Queen alien coming into it, and that's a mother, and you have a mother going off against the mother, right? And then you go into Alien 3, and all of a sudden, that forced impregnation has taken place, and Sigourney Weaver's now carrying. She's now pregnant with an alien, essentially. And then you go into Alien Resurrection. Like I said, I'm not defending Alien Resurrection, but thematically it works because you have the twist on the mothering thing, because Ripley's now got a connection to the alien because she has birthed the alien queen, but she through the cloning process, she's taken on traits of the alien as well, so she's closer to it. And then the alien takes on the traits of her through the birthing, which I don't really like that idea, but thematically it still kind of works. And then you've got the baby alien that's birthed the same as a human because of the cloning process and the DNA swap and all that at that point. So you do have, the fourth one is more of a stretch thematically, but it still fits thematically within those 4 films fit thematically. So as much as when I watch Alien Resurrection, I feel that it's very disjointed from the other Alien films, and it's cast almost as though people are caricatures of real people rather than real people. there's still something that I can get out of it from the themes at play. Even though I don't really, agree with the choices they've made, I can still watch it as an alien film because thematically, there's bits that work within that link it to the other alien films. So in that, they've cleverly, thought about what they're doing and, the links they're in, even if they're subtle and as a viewer, you don't really get them. You don't really realize that this is the case. But that's been lost with any subsequent, Aliens movie. Like I said, Prometheus, going back to Prometheus, the fact that, we're now saying that we're linked with the creation of the aliens because of the engineers, the black goo, blah, blah, blah. They're the ones they're the gods that have created us as well. And then you've got David, who's recreating the alien. I won't say he doesn't create the alien. The aliens exist within that universe. He takes the black goo and he recreates the alien. Because we know the aliens exist because there's a mural of them in Prometheus and we see the alien there. So he takes the black goo and he starts recreating them and maybe making them a bit better than what they were or whatever. But you've created this, all of a sudden the universe doesn't feel so big. That's my main problem with those films, is that now the universe feels very small because you're saying that we're linked to them, that we're linked to the creators, they're the creators of us. And it's just like, okay, so we're, again, Ridley Scott, when he made that film, I remember it's very similar to this stuff that's coming out with now with Alien Earth, in that you're getting these news articles that are contradictory to one another, that seem to be, well, the makers don't know, director doesn't know where it's actually sat. When Ridley Scott was making Prometheus, I remember Prometheus, I was following the making of Prometheus, and I remember it almost daily. It kept chopping and changing as to, well, this is an alien film. No, now it's not an alien film. It's just going to be about the creation of man. Back to, now it's an alien film. But Ridley Scott doesn't really want to make an alien film. But we're going to link it to it's very reminiscent. This is very reminiscent of that, but on a smaller scale, smaller time scale. And
but then, could you say then that again, it's the studio executives on this side, the ones that want to make the money, and then you've got the director and the producers on this side, they're wanting to do this, and they're opposing each other, and this is why you get these changes, with these things. They start off with one thing and then they think, oh no, actually the execs say, oh no, we can't do that, we've got to do this. And
no, very possibly, but you're talking about some sort of, with Ridley Scott, you're talking about a quite a powerhouse filmmaker. We're not talking about a director for hire.
No,
Ridley Scott's a filmmaker. He's got the strength to say yay or nay. He's in that producer's chair for that film. Noah Hawley, I'd say that he's quite renowned in TV and proved himself, and has probably got a lot of sway. He's not a director for hire. He's not a sort of, we want you to run this show. He's brought this show. He's the one who's brought it.
Okay. I don't know a lot about him, if I'm honest.
Yeah, so it's very much, it just feels the same. It feels,
disjointed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Ridley Scott, if Ridley Scott didn't want to link it to Alien in any way, shape, or form, then he would have made, he's got the power to say, like Christopher Nolan, whoever, right? He's got the power to say, I want to make this film. This is the film I want to make. And the studio will say, yeah, all right, fair enough, yeah, because you're Ridley Scott. You're Ridley Scott. You know, you've got, you know, that's like Martin Scorsese going and wanting to make a film, or James Cameron wanting to. Do you know what I mean? These are people that are not directors for hire. These are people that are, you know, they go in with a film idea and then they're heading it up.
Yeah.
You know, they're sat in that producer's chair for it. So they say, you know, they've got a lot of sway. I just think Ridley Scott isn't the person he once was as a filmmaker. I think that's clear. He never really liked what James Cameron did with Aliens anyway. And he's trying to, you know, from my take, he's trying to sort of sort of overwrite, so to speak. Honestly,
does he actually?
Sorry, go on.
So, does he actually own the rights to the Alien franchise, or is he just? I don't know, or is that Disney? Disney own it.
I think Disney own it. I don't think Ridley Scott owns it. I think he's very powerful within it now. He wasn't at one point, clearly, but then he came back to it with Prometheus. Sort of took charge, so to speak. Because originally Alien, it was Dan O'Bannon was the writer, the original writer of Alien, and that. You know, I'd say that James Cameron done more to world build the Alien universe than what Ridley Scott ever has. Yeah. You know, he took it and you know, he saw what Ridley Scott had done, which was great in that first Alien film, and then he took it to the next level, and what he did worked for it. You know, I'm not talking about the fact it was an all-out action film. I'm just talking about the fact that he introduced the concept of Queen Alien and this hierarchy of aliens and all this sort of thing within. You know, it kind of made sense. But then, you know, you're going back to whatchamacallit, Romulus. You know, Romulus even went so far as to adjust the life cycle, the alien life cycle.
Yeah.
You know,
well, we saw that in the AVP films anyway, didn't we?
Well, I'm not talking about the time frame that's done. I'm talking about the fact that you've now introduced the cocooning stage of an alien.
Although that, again, we never really saw that in the original films, did we? That was always shrouded in mystery, really. We never saw. So I guess they could say why they brought that in. Well, you've not seen this before, so this is what happens.
But it's cool. It's you know, it was never there. It wasn't there.
No.
You know, the alien birthed from, you know, chestburster came out, and then it grew.
Yeah.
And that's what.
Well, yeah, that's essentially, yeah. But how it grew, I guess. Well, they're now saying that it almost becomes it must, I guess, like a butterfly kind of thing. It creates a cocoon and then it grows within the cocoon.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, that's never been a part of the alien life cycle ever.
No, because in the original film, it was very much like a snake, wasn't it? It shed its skin, and then obviously as it grew in size, it probably shredded more skin as it went on. Whereas, like I say, with Romulus, they've kind of ditched that. Was there any skin shown in that film, or was it just the cocoon?
Can't remember.
No. I mean, again, a lot of that. I mean, yeah, okay, looked great, you know, but again, some of the stuff was ridiculous. You know, the stuff in the zero gravity where they're shooting the aliens and all the acids floating around and they're dodging it. I mean, it's farcical. It's ridiculous when you think about it. That's not fine, isn't it? But again, it comes back to what I say: it's style over substance. Are these films now just being made just for visuals, for entertainment, and nothing more? Are we? I guess as fans of the original films, are we wanting more from this than they're prepared to give us.
Probably.
You know, maybe younger audiences aren't as invested in it as maybe we are, because some, you know, younger people may be seeing this stuff for the first time and they haven't seen the original films, so they haven't got that connection with it. So
no,
from
that's
their
right.
point of view,
but I was thinking about the other day. I was actually, and it's just popped in my mind again, about the prequel thing, right? I've got to wonder whether the prequel thing, and let's make a prequel, is to attempt to make more money off of the other films.
Yeah, bring that nostalgia.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, you got a prequel film, so younger audience who ain't seen the Alien franchise, they go in to see Alien Romulus, right? And then they come out saying, "Oh, I like that. Let's go and watch the other ones."
Yeah.
That came, the earlier made ones, right? Whereas making a sequel, right, you could argue that, okay, but you get the same from a sequel. They could watch a sequel and then think, oh, I want to go back and watch the originals. But being a sequel, people, the younger audience, and this is probably what it is, actually, thinking about it, it's probably make perfect sense that your younger audience will say, oh, I'm not going to see that because I ain't seen all the others, because they're old films. Do you see what I mean? So from that sort of logic base, it kind of makes sense that they're going with sequels, prequels all the time with stuff.
Yeah.
To get an audience in and to garner more money on those films that came after. Because the prequel should, in theory, pull in your fans anyway, because it's an established IP. Pull in newer viewers because it's got no history prior to it. So the narratively, it's got no history. And then we make money on the back of it when people go out and buy the, I know physical media's, you know, where it's at, but people may rent them online, buy them online, whatever they may do, you know, sign up to Disney because they want to watch the others. But you don't have that so much with a sequel, because the young audience like, I can't bothered, because I've got to go and watch the other 4 films that have come before, or however many. Well, I mean, Alien, they'll probably be thinking, if you're new to Alien now, you're probably thinking, well, I've got to go and watch all these other films, Prometheus, Covenant, etc., that's all come before. So that's probably where that logic comes from, that prequel logic.
Yeah. I mean, do you think we're going to get a physical release for Alien Earth? Do you reckon that will come, or do you think it'll be, again, Disney will? Well, I don't know. Does Disney own Hulu, or is it a separate thing and they've just got like a relationship where they, you know, it's streamed in?
No, I think Disney, Hulu's part of Disney.
It is part of Disney.
Yeah. Because clearly Aliens is 20th Century Fox, or whatever you want to call it now. And they own 20th Century Fox. They own Alien. I think Hulu's more Disney for Disney Plus is, you know, kid friendly, isn't it? Essentially, then you have Hulu, where we can put this other stuff like Predator and things like that onto that, where it's not kid centric. It's more like Disney for adults. But you're saying,
although
about
in the UK we don't have it; it's all on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I know. But you're saying about, you know, do I think it will get a physical release, right? It's a hard one to call, right? But I'm looking at the Marvel and Star Wars releases, right? And now what's probably going to happen is that between us doing this video and you airing it in a week or two, there'll probably be an announcement, and people will now be saying, oh, but blah, 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 right? We haven't had an announcement for any more Star Wars physical releases or Marvel Disney Plus physical releases since November of last year. Right? There's been nothing, and we're now coming into the 8th month of the year. Right? And there's been no announcement of any other Marvel or Disney, Marvel or Star Wars, Disney steelbook releases. So, using that as a basis, I could say no, they won't release it. Disney are done with releasing them. But then, we could get the announcement in a week or two but that announcement should have been already, because those last releases came out in just before Christmas and just after Christmas. I think it was Hawkeye that came out after Christmas, because I was hoping it'd be before Christmas because it's Christmas based. And whatever other ones they'd done, they were there. So in theory, if they were going for an every 6 month release date, you should have had an announcement by now of the next lot. But you're now heading into the territory of, with that stuff, with things that possibly won't sell. And we're talking She-Hulk, talking Secret Invasion from Marvel, Miss Marvel, things like this. So I don't know what's going on at the Disney side of things. I've looked and I found no information on it. Can't find anything either way. So, I mean, I think we'll know when. Clearly, you'd get a release of Killer of Killers probably before that. It's not far between. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got Predator Badlands in, is it November? October, November, something like that.
Yeah, now that'll get a release because that's a theatrical.
Yeah, theatrical, film. I'm not so sure whether Killer of Killers will get a physical release because, like I say, it's an animation, and often, there's a lot of stuff on Disney or Netflix as well. I mean, that Tomb Raider animation, that's got no physical release, has it?
No. Now with animation,
I know it's Netflix, but
with animation generally gets a lot less viewers than a live action movie. So when you go and you make a Predator live action film, you're as a studio, you'd be saying, all right, well, we're hoping that the film makes this amount of money.
Yeah,
up here. With a Predator animated film, they'd be saying, well, we hope that it sort of comes in there because we know that there's going to be people that ain't going to watch it simply because it's animated and it's off-putting to a lot of people. You see, it's sort of the same thing with Marvel's What If. No one watched What If because it's animation and it's so therefore it's not worth watching. And Disney, I will say again, back to their release strategy, they've not released on either in the Star Wars camp or the Marvel camp. They've not released any of the animations. So What If have not had any releases. The latter seasons of Clone Wars, Bad Batch, the animation before did get releases before the buyout and all that sort of a thing. But now with the new stuff where they brought Clone Wars back and those newer seasons don't get physical releases.
No.
So it could be the same with Killer of Killers.
You've got a bootleg of that, have you? Killer of Killers?
I have, yes. But it doesn't. Yeah. But it doesn't include the new end.
Okay. Yes, you shared that this morning, which is interesting.
Yeah, the new ending with Harrigan and Dutch, but no Royce. Where's Royce?
Yeah, exactly. But again, why suddenly just do that? Why I guess it's all to do with San Diego Comic-Con. They've just added a little extra little Easter egg.
They've probably done it to get more views.
Yeah,
people click back onto it to watch it, to see the ending or whatever. I don't know. It's just I don't like when they do that.
No, like you say, it's driving. But again, I mean, it's on Disney Plus, isn't it? Killer of Killers.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to be subscribing to Disney for mainly for Alien Earth. I mean, I've got sort of I want to see Thunderbolts. That's on there. Rewatch Captain America 4. I only sort of take out like a 3-month subscription, so it's got to be worth. I do it through the Tesco Club card thing. It's not worth me taking out a year's subscription to it, where there's hardly anything. It's got to build up to having some stuff to watch. And I mean, Disney obviously they want, this is going to be a big tent pole for them, Alien Earth. So it's going to be wanting to drive subscribers to them, certainly with the run up to Christmas. Those people that like us that are going to be watching it straight away, more the casual audience, and look what we've got on Disney now. We've got this Alien Earth TV series, and I remember the old Alien films from years ago. Yeah, we'll subscribe to that for Christmas. We'll be able to watch this. So, like you say, it's unlikely that there will be a physical release anytime soon. But again, with Disney, they tend to just drop it, don't they? There's no kind of like pre-order, like with a lot of this stuff. It just suddenly just drops, and here you go.
No, but with this stuff, they do announce before. They would announce the release before it comes out. It wouldn't be just a drop. But they would want that to be on there for a couple of years, probably, before they even think about physical release. And also there's potential that it's been licensed out to this stuff will be licensed out in other countries to other if Disney Plus don't exist or something like that, it'll probably be licensed out for other places to show, I'm guessing. And those licenses would probably have to, I don't know. I mean, Disney's release strategy on physical media anyway with this stuff is odd anyway, because like I said, with the Marvel and Star Wars stuff, you've got no option but to buy a 4K here in the UK, a 4K steelbook. I believe in America, it was you had a Blu-ray choice or a 4K choice with a steelbook,
right?
But
bigger audience, I guess, bigger market.
Yeah, but there again, you're dismissing a lot of, you're dismissing the DVD market. You're dismissing those people that don't want steelbook or don't want to pay that premium option for packaging.
Yeah.
And you've dismissed those people up, all the way up to now. So I can't believe that your sales figures would be better than what they would be if you gave the other options, but then your sales figures ain't going to be as high as what they would be if the other options existed. Sales figures overall, if that makes sense. And I just don't get that. And with the shrinking market, as it got to that point now where it's shrunk to the point where they have said, enough's enough. It's not financially viable releasing anymore.
Possibly, yeah.
I think that's where we're at or close to, because, And I said that when they started, because I remember I always used to say, Disney will never release this stuff. I'll never release this stuff. And then something happened and I was proved wrong, and they did start releasing this stuff. At which point I said, okay, guarantee you won't get all of it.
Yeah.
Guarantee that you'll get it for a number of years, number of releases, and then it will stop, because that sales market is shrinking. Overall that and I don't, and with the sort of, there's a lot of disdain towards Marvel and thingy now, Star Wars, as you know, a lot of hate towards those. They ain't what they once were, so people ain't going to be picking them up. And it's the other thing with Alien Earth. If you've made this decision to say, well, actually, none of the other Alien films matter, you're starting to creep down that road of people turning their back on these franchises because you're milking them. You're starting to milk them like you have done with Marvel. And I do think that the fact that I do find it rather odd that we have a Alien TV show whilst Alien is still has made a resurgence on the big screen. Because, you know, I do think that there's a majority of people that, you know, when you're given, and it's like with Marvel, right? When you're given a TV show that looks almost comparable to your movies, and you can essentially watch that TV show for free. Okay, I know you got a streaming cost, right?
Yeah.
But it's on TV. It's a TV show. Why do I want to go cinema to see the equivalent of what you're giving me on TV? You know, if I'm getting those sort of that, you know, it used to be that going cinema, your big budget films and that was about spectacle, going and seeing spectacle. But if that spectacle has transitioned onto TV, and I mean, look at the Mandalorian, things like that. You know, you got some great effects and work in that, those sort of things. It's Star Wars on TV.
Yeah.
The Marvel stuff, a lot of the Marvel stuff, you know,
TV shows,
looks good. You know, the effects in some of them look great. You know, comparable to to the films. So why do I want to go cinema to pay to see what I'm seeing on the TV? I can see on TV technically for free. If that makes sense.
Well, in some ways, you know, companies like Disney they are actually contributing to the decline of the cinema as well, because ultimately their goal is to have everything on their streaming site. That's just what they want. You know, they're not interested in physical media, probably not even that interested in cinematic releases. For them, it's okay, few weeks of you know, big box office returns, but they're turning them around. Was it every 3 months? You're pretty much within 12 weeks. It'll either be on Disney Plus. I mean, I know with the Marvel stuff, it's still coming to Blu-ray and DVD, but like I say, the TV series, they're tending to sort of not bother with those.
Yeah, I mean, with the Star Wars stuff and the Marvel stuff, that their hand was kind of forced because you still had a collector market for the MCU, and people like myself, you know, buying every MCU movie, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of like, you know, and they saw it because you had that resurgence of the bootleg, and you did when that came about. You know, guarantee you these bootleg sales started increasing.
Yeah.
And I said they would, and then they would die back, filter back down, and they have. And this is what forced Disney's hand into into delivering you physical releases, because they realised, hold on a minute, there is a bit of money to be made here, because, you know, so let's try and do that. Let's try and make what we can instead of the bootleg market make it, and give some of these releases. But then, you know, as people have lost interest in, and the quality of their shows have not been as great, you know, and they clearly have dipped massively.
Yeah.
People don't care anymore, and people don't really bootleg them now because they just can't bother, because it's tripe. You know, I mean, there's still Marvel shows I haven't watched.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Echo. I didn't finish Agatha All Along.
No.
I didn't finish the Miss Marvel. I think I had one episode to watch, because, you know, Ironheart, I've not even looked at. I've not even attempted Ironheart, because they're all rubbish. That came and went without me even thinking about it or caring, and that's from me, right? Because it used to bug me that, and it did with a lot of collectors, that I've got a space in my, you know, one division sits here between this and this, and I'm not got it. I can't have it. You're telling me that I can't have it, Disney, but you want me to buy all the others. So they started releasing and then now people just not interested anyway. I don't really care, or the amount that do care for it are minimal. I mean, you could argue. I know that the 4K market is actually doing pretty damn well. You know, I think there's been a overall physical media's dying when you take into account Blu-ray.
Becoming very niche.
Yeah, when you take into account DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K, it's shrinking. But 4K on its own is actually increasing.
Well, it will do because it's the collectors that are buying the 4K.
That's right. Yeah, but you got to remember, someone could argue, well, 4K is doing better, is increasing, so why wouldn't Disney release the Marvel and the rest of the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff? Because people aren't buying that particular thing now. People don't care for that. That as a franchise is waning, both of them. And you could have the same with the Alien franchise with this.
So you think you'll bootleg the Alien Earth TV series, and then if obviously if an official release comes out, you'll replace it?
Well, I'm hoping that the show's good. I know I've got my reservations. I know that I've been quite negative in my talk of it here, right? Because I wanted to bring another spin to it, because you were quite positive. So I wanted to bring the negative side of the argument to it. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I'm going to watch it. You know, like I said, what's his face? The geezer making it. Noah Hawley is, you know, I'm aware of stuff that he's made, which is very good. I like Timothy Olyphant. I'm a big fan of the Aliens franchise, you know. So yes, I have to bootleg it probably because I've already got my steelbook made.
Have you got that to hand?
Well, it's just round the corner.
Oh, okay.
Why, do you want me to grab it?
Yeah, go and grab it, because
I'll literally be gone for a second. It's literally here, almost.
So while AJ's doing that, we're going to wrap this up shortly. So pop down in the comments what you think about Alien Earth. Hopefully, when you're watching this, probably the first couple of episodes you've shared. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel.
Oh, you got my ring light on it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that. I like that. Yeah, that is very cool. Is that stickers?
Yeah, I use steelbook stickers for it, and I still got the discs inside. Expendables. So that's what I had done for it, because I thought that's a nice. I like that image. You know, face hugger wrapped around Earth, and then I thought just alien on the back with a sort of reflection of Earth in its.
Yeah, I thought that was a very clever design choice.
In its dome. Yeah.
Like I say, I can't knock the visuals that we've seen for this TV series. You know, that main trailer, I really liked it. I thought, you know, they used some good music in it. It just looks great, and you know, I just hope that it has the substance behind it. At least they've come out and said at the start, this is not connected to the film franchise, so you're not sitting there scratching your head thinking, well, how does this relate to Alien? And I'm sure people will still do that, because naturally fans will do that. But I guess they have officially announced this, you know, before it comes out, which, like you say, probably not done them any favors, because it could turn a lot of people off. But it is what they've said. So, you know, this is obviously the direction they wanted to go in. Whether again it will get course corrected after the first season, time will tell. But so
So would you be up for a Marvel Aliens crossover?
No.
Or a Marvel character Predator crossover? I'm only saying that because, you know, it's feasible now, because they are owned both by Disney, and the comics.
They are, yeah. I think it would just be a step too far. I mean, you could say Predator is maybe a step too far. I mean, it does kind of work, but again, I mean, I enjoy the AVP films, but they are pure entertainment. They're not. I don't take them that seriously because I feel the Alien films are quite serious, quite dark horror films, whereas the AVP is. I mean, you could say Predator. I suppose the first Predator film is a sci-fi horror to a degree because there's a lot of blood and guts in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Whereas those AVP films, they were dialed down and they were just sort of fun nonsense. Like you say, the alien bursting out of the chest and its life cycle was sped up so quickly in those films.
Yeah. The thing is, what you got to understand is narratively, with an alien, with an Alien Predator film, I've said this before. If you disregard the human side of it, you can do pretty much what you want and get a low rating.
Yeah.
Because the violence is not not involving humans. It's the same as how, when you watch Terminator 3, I use this as an example, you got some pretty damn violent scenes in it, right? I mean, as in, not bloody. I know there is a bloody scene with a hand through the thing, but what I'm talking about is the scene in the toilets where Arnie and Kristana Loken are fighting and they're throwing each other into the basins, into the toilet, all this. That sort of a thing, if you were doing that for real, I say for real, I mean as in narratively, if it was two people fighting and they would get thrown, in a bathroom through basins and crap like that, you would elevate the rating. You'd have to come in with edits and this sort of a thing. But because even though it's two people, as in Arnie and Kristana Loken, but because of in the narrative of the story, they're not human and they're robots.
Yeah.
You can get away with the violence more so because it. And that's a funny thing about ratings is that a lot of it, some of it, is the narrative side of what you're seeing rather than what you're seeing. So Alien versus Predator, the first one, was easy to get a lower rating because it doesn't matter what you do between the two creatures at the point that they're fighting. I know there's some human stuff in it and now that was toned down, but it doesn't matter what they do to one another because you're looking at two fantastical creatures battling it out, and thusly, which is one of the reasons why Jaws could get a low rating. Because you're watching a shark do what a shark does.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not narratively driven violence between people.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the ratings come into play.
But do you see, I mean, obviously we've had the latest Predator Badlands trailer. And again, I don't know whether anything else is going to come out over this course of this weekend, with the Comic-Con. Obviously, they're promoting Weyland Yutani in that film. It's clearly been shown with the android, with the eyes, and you've seen it in sort of the background and all of this. I'm guessing they are working up to there's going to be an alien crossover at some point further down the line with these Predator films.
Well, it's already been discussed. It's already been discussed. It's already been spoke about. You've had Fede Alvarez and a fella who done the Predator film, Prey, and this new one, I forget his name now. And they've said, they have sort of spoke about the directing, joint directing their own relevant parts. So the alien parts, the Predator parts.
Okay.
But you've also had, I think it was Dan Trachtenberg. I'm not sure if it was Alvarez or Trachtenberg that said this, that the way, I think it was Trachtenberg, the way to do it, an Alien versus Predator, is not know that you're going into an Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
so that you think you're just going into a Predator film.
Yeah.
And then a xenomorph shows up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You do it like that. So you don't promote it as an AVP. You do it as going to watch a Predator film. Bloody hell, there's Alien. They've done that.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
so yeah, clearly
back.
it's clearly leading to it because of the Weyland-Yutani stuff. But it's like I say earlier when we mentioned Alien versus Predator, and I said the Alien versus Predator films fit more canonically into the Predator franchise rather than the Alien franchise. They're clearly aware of this because you're getting that Predator, you're getting that Alien stuff in Predator.
Yeah.
It's more in Predator than what it is in, that's where they're doing it. That's where they're teasing Weyland-Yutani. That's where they're, do you know what I mean? Because it's easier to do. It's easier to digest the Alien there than the Predator popping up in the Alien franchise.
But interesting enough, in this Alien Earth TV series, obviously Weyland-Yutani is mentioned, and I think it's more about Yutani in this, but it's more certainly for this first series, it's more focused on, well, there's five corporations, a bit like modern day, I guess, Amazon, Apple, etc., Microsoft, and I think it's Prodigy, which is the guy who's sort of CEO of it or whatever. He's the guy
he's
that
young fella.
Forget
it
his
might
name.
be. I don't know if it's called Prodigy or not, but it probably makes sense considering he's young as well. It kind of,
I think
he's a prodigy of some sort. Yeah, it's a rival company to Weyland.
Yeah, it says here, there's five corporations: Prodigy, Weyland-Yutani, Lynch, Dynamic, and Threshold.
Yeah. And how many alien species are there? 5?
5. It's supposed to be 5. Like I say, obviously the xenomorph, the whatever it is, the eyeball thing, Oculus, that's it. And then there's this plant thing which looks like a big sort of, I don't know, pod, kind of Venus flytrap kind of thing. And then, well, obviously 2 more species that they haven't revealed yet, which is good because you don't want to really reveal everything.
So it's probably safe to say then that if you've got 5 corporations and you've got 5 alien species, that each of the alien species is a metaphor for one of the corporations.
Maybe.
In some way or that. There's got to be a logic in that thinking, having 5 corporations, 5 alien species. Let's make the alien species a physical manifestation of the beliefs and whatever of that corporation.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. So, see, maybe our next. I think we should do a podcast near the time for the release of the Predator film. So maybe when we have that chat, we can reflect back on what we've seen on Alien Earth.
Yeah.
Incorporate that because, like I say, the 2 are kind of interconnected now, very much so with this new sort of wave of films and TV series. So yeah, well, we're coming up to nearly an hour and a half. I think it's been a great talk. I think we've covered a lot. Like I say, I suppose I'm a bit more positive about it than you are, but I can see your concerns, and I have some concerns, but again, I guess I just want to be entertained. Ultimately, maybe we look too deeply into these things and always looking for connections. I don't know.
Maybe, or maybe we accept substandard offerings.
Well, I think maybe we're all doing that now, aren't we? Because we are getting a lot of that.
We are.
Not good, but seems to be the world we're living in now. rare that you get something these days that is really top notch.
I just think a lot of these people are happy to pee off the fan base, to be honest.
Sad though, really, because you're cutting off the hand that feeds you.
But they don't want the older viewers. That's the thing.
No,
they want the newer. Hence why I said prequels equals new viewers.
Yeah.
Join the
But they
market.
want the digital. Ones. They also want the digital revolution, don't they? You know, the generations. They don't want. They're not really interested in us physical media people because we're kind of old school and outdated, redundant, obsolete.
We are indeed. Yeah.
Obsolete.
That's
anyway,
right.
I think we'll call it a day there.
Now we shall.
Thanks ever so much, everyone, for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Like I say, leave comments down below. Will you be watching Alien Earth? If you're seeing this after the first couple of episodes have aired, leave your thoughts down below as to what you think of this and, and all the rest of it. So, right, like I say, we'll probably do another one of these to do with Predator a bit later in the year. So, yeah, look out for that one. We'll see you later.
See you later. Take care all.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.